saying that he's off to a nice start. Why does it have to be all or nothing all the time?
Like, what am I doing? I'm doing it for the show. Field of 68 till I die. This is the Field of 68 After Dark show, the only place that you need to be for college hoops every single night. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday evening edition of the Field of 68 After Dark here on Sirius XM Channel 84. That is the ESPNU station. We're streaming live over on YouTube. If you're watching there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in the chat, ask us some questions. We'll be answering them during breaks. We're presented by our partners over at Bet River Sportsbook. My name is Rob Dauster. I'm joined tonight by Stadium Insider Jeff Goodman, and a man who could not be more excited about a potential Duke North Carolina Final Four matchup. It's Wake Forest legend Randolph Childress. Guys, Villanova is heading back to the Final Four after knocking off Houston tonight. We have a pair of interesting Elite Eight matchups that we're going to have to break down later on in the show. But first and foremost, we just watched the Duke Blue Devils and Coach K lock up a trip to New Orleans, where they are either going to face North Carolina or the number 15 seed St. Peter's Peacocks. Goodman, how impressed are you with what Coach K has been able to do with this Duke team during this tournament?
I am, but they're talented. Right. I'm impressed, obviously, but you look at them tonight against Arkansas and you're like, okay, you see the difference at basically every position. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're more athletic, they're more talented. Jalen Williams is terrific, but Mark Williams is better. You know, and that's probably the closest they come. JD Note is terrific, but Wendell Moore is bigger, and it's hard to score on these big, athletic, long dudes that Paulo. I mean, come on. Like, he's got pros. We've known this all along. To be honest, their defense regressed for a while, and that made us question. And then Carolina went in and smacked them on Coach K night at Cameron, and it made us question them. But this is still the most talented team in the country. And I'm not sure if they're the favorite to win it all, but if you're talking strictly on talent, they are favored to win it all.
You're not going to out-athlete those guys, right? I mean, when you got a traditional big, it's more of a style that gives them trouble. If you can't take Mark Williams out and space the floor with him, I don't think you can beat him. So you better go small and pull him out and have a stretch five, so to speak, and get him out the paint. If you just got a big that can dribble handoff that plays in the paint, that's, you know, they're going to clog up everything. And that's what helps their defense getting better. I think in the conference play, teams just schemed it and kind of went small and said, hey, with Mark's in, we're just spacing you out. And if you got a guy that's just going to dribble handoff and can't score on the perimeter, I mean, that's why he was ACC Defensive Player of the Year. He makes a difference, and he just made Jalen Williams look average, and he's a good player.
Yeah, Duke won 78-69 tonight. AJ Griffin had 18 points. Paolo Banchero had 16, 7, and 3 assists. Mark Williams with 12 and 12 with 3 blocks. Wendell Moore had 14. They did it tonight, guys, without a great game from Jeremy Roach. And that's the one spot that I've been worried about with Duke all season long. That was the one spot I was worried about in this matchup. We saw this Arkansas perimeter defense, RC, completely eat up Andrew Nembhard and the Gonzaga Bulldog backcourt. It did not matter tonight for Duke. Jeremy Roach had 9 points, 2 assists. He had 5 turnovers. He looked like the Jeremy Roach we saw basically the entire season, and Duke still ran a very good and very hot Arkansas team basically out of the gym.
I thought he had his moments tonight. He had some careless turnovers, I think, being indecisive a little bit, but he had his moments. I mean, he was real aggressive getting to the cup. You know, he wasn't as hesitant as he's been. I think that's gotten him in trouble. But the problem that matters, you know, when they go with Ben Carroll, it's 4 guys that can initiate offense. Mm-hmm. And they just need him not to turn it over in key moments. But he's aggressive now. He's scoring. He's been playing good ball. He's the reason they're here. I mean, make no mistake about it. His improved play is a big reason why they're here, and he's shown he's capable of doing it. A couple of turnovers a night with careless, little lackadaisical, overpassing type of things that I think he can clean up. But the level of aggression that he's playing with the talent that's around him, I mean, they're going to be, if he's just solid, they're going to be tough.
They're not deep. Listen,
no,
they're not deep, but they got 6 dudes that can all hurt you, right? That's the one thing that makes him difficult to defend against is, you know, and really, if you're Coach K, it's almost like you look at matchups. He's not necessarily the coach that's done that always over the years, but that's almost what you should do with this Duke team, because you're going to have clear matchup advantages, depending on the next game, right? If it's St. Peter's, you're certainly going to have those matchup advantages. Carolina, and I know we'll get to it in a little bit, if they play Carolina, man, it's going to be interesting, because I was there for that one, and it was so ugly, and there was so much pressure on them. There's going to be a different kind of pressure on them if they play Carolina this time.
Yeah, that matchup was so much more. That entire game was about so much more than the game. Like, the game itself didn't matter. It was the event, the spectacle, the fans coming in, the 48-hour nonstop cameras, everything about Coach K in his last game. In the Final Four, it's going to be about the Final Four. Yeah, yes, there is the storyline, right? That it's Coach K's last Final Four. It's his last national title. But there's something to play for. There's a basketball game on the line. That other game didn't matter. Right? They weren't playing.
It mattered when they lost. It mattered when they lost, Rob.
But I get that. But it's very difficult to difficult to motivate yourself, and the only goal is not to lose. Right now, they're playing for something to win, and they're playing like they've gotten better every single game in this tournament. I thought they were done against Michigan State. They gave up that run. They're down by 5. They come back and find a way to win that game. I thought that they were done against Texas Tech. Like, they took a punch to the mouth in the opening minutes of that game. Texas Tech made a run in the second half. Duke closed out. I think they against the number 1 defense in the country, RC, they made their last, I think it was their last 9 shots. They didn't miss a shot in the last 9 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
They're growing in confidence.
I have a question for RC.
Go ahead.
RC, I got a question for you here.
Yep.
As a former player, you're watching Carolina, St. Peter's tomorrow, and you're Duke. Who do you want? I mean, you want Carolina again? I mean, you do, don't you?
I think they do. I think they called him out. I think that's the game that they want. I mean, make no mistake about it. It's a rivalry game. It's a game that they felt as though, you heard them say that, Paulo called him out in the ACC tournament. He was expecting to say, hey, who do you want to play? We want to play Carolina. Said that at his post-game interview. So I think that's the game they're going to want because of what happened. The guys are going to rally around Coach K and want to have a little redemption if it is Carolina.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all want that, right?
Yeah.
I love the St. Peter's storyline. I don't want St. Peter's at the Final Four. I want Duke, Carolina at the Final Four. Duke, Carolina, New Orleans. The last time the Final Four was in New Orleans, Jeff, it was Louisville, Kentucky. You remember how crazy it was?
I was there, man. I was there. Those Kentucky fans. I was there because they really didn't like me back then. So it was I had to drink a lot to get through that whole stretch there. But
you had to buy a lot of drinks for people to keep them from coming up and hitting you in the back of the head with a bottle.
Yeah. Well, Peter McNeely ain't going to come down to New Orleans with me to save my ass this time.
Yeah, don't worry. We got RC. You'll be all right.
Yeah, we got enough guys. But I wouldn't mind seeing St. Peter's either. As crazy as it sounds, I can get another week of that story as well.
Either way, we win.
It's a win-win.
We win
doubt.
either way, whether you
win-win.
get a – now, again, here's the thing. If you're Coach K and you get this far and you lose to Carolina again and they sweep you, right? They sweep you on Coach K night and with a chance to get to the national title game in your final season. Like, what do you think? They will build a statue of Hubert Davis outside of the Dean Dome immediately. He doesn't have to win a damn another game. Like, if he does that, like, he might as well just retire.
He might get a contract extension for sure.
He should.
He'd get a contract extension.
Yeah. Yeah, he will. So I do just want to ask you guys this. The defense was a concern early on for Duke in this tournament, right? We had questions about whether or not they were going to be able to lock down the way they needed to. Are you still concerned about that? RC, I'll go to you first on that one.
You're always concerned when you're dealing with a bunch of young guys. But like I said, their defense is predicated on Mark Williams being available.
Right.
I mean, he just makes up for everything else. Now, the wings and Wendell Moore and those guys and Trevor Kill, they can get so much more aggressive, knowing, like, go in there. If you want to go in there and shoot over Mark Williams, good luck. You're going to shoot 30%. He's going to block it. You're going to miss it. Rebound outlet, we're running. The biggest difference is that. And when you get into the tournament in some of these matchups, it depends on the matchup. If you're playing Duke and you can't pull Mark Williams out of the paint, you're going to have a tough time. You're not shooting 40, 50% against them
so,
with that. You're going to struggle.
Let me flip that on you. So Jalen Williams can pull Mark Williams out of the paint, right? Like he played on the perimeter. They got some stuff off of that early in this game. Armando Bacot is not someone that's going to pull him away from the basket. Last time we saw Duke play Carolina won. We just watched Duke whip up on Arkansas here. So was that just context? Is that just you had other guys playing better? What happened in those matches?
I don't think Williams played that great. And in the sense of outside the paint. I think they're more so like, hey, and there's a difference in him making a shot or two or making a play and Duke saying, are you going to make enough plays to beat us? For 40 minutes, I'm not buying it. And the Duke, and we said this before at the time, I think it was so many other things. It was just a spectacle that everybody was just mentally, those kids were worn out from it. Kay was worn out. Everything about that. Now this team is a little more motivated. They're dialed into what they need to do. It's too much at stake now. Now they see the finish line. This is for New Orleans. And if they're there, they meet them there, it'll be in New Orleans for the national championship. So it's not the attention. Everybody's going to be the same at that point. What's at stake is going to be the same for everyone.
Mm-hmm. You agree, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm just worried that my daughter locked herself outside of the hotel room getting the food from the robot. My 18-year-old daughter. Like, come on. What are we doing here? Like I'm telling you, she's going to knock on the door in a second because she can't get back in. Guaranteed, we're going to hear a knock.
Let me tell you this. The apple does not fall far from the tree.
What do you mean? I'm great with technology.
Yeah, I could see you being one of those guys that locks yourself out of the out of your hotel room.
She said accidentally. She texted me. Ready? Here's the text. Accidentally locked myself out. I'll wait till you have a minute. He never gave us the damn cookies. I'll be right back. I'm gonna let her back.
Yeah,
man,
it'll be interesting to see if it does get down to that Carolina. There's a lot of stories about it in Duke winning. I mean, they won it. And both teams won in each other's court, so it's a lot. It's a great story. It's a lot at stake. But I would imagine right now both teams are really playing well. But I would imagine Duke would be the favorite.
Is there any way that this can end without Coach K cutting down not just the nets he's cutting down right now in San Francisco, but cutting down the nets in New Orleans too? Like, what?
Is there any way? What did you say? Is there any way? Of course.
That's just destiny at this point.
I don't know if it's destiny. I mean, shit, we could have a Final Four, guys. Think about this: Duke, Carolina, Villanova, Kansas.
Yeah.
Like blue blood. I mean, the only one you don't have there is Kentucky when you're talking about probably the 5 best programs over, well, I don't want to say over the last few years because Kentucky's been, they weren't great last year, but whatever. 5, the big one that you wouldn't have is Kentucky. But that would be an incredible Final Four if that happens to some degree, just because, again, you're going to have big boys.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you want. Look,
yeah.
I love the St. Peter's story. I love Doug Eder. I love him jumping up on tables after wins. Shaheen Holloway and what he's been able to build there. It's great. It's fantastic. It's the Cinderella to end all Cinderellas. It feels like we say this every year when there's a run, but this is the Cinderella to end all Cinderellas. And Goodman, turn off your notifications. Damn.
Yeah, I can't do it. I don't know. It's on my phone.
We're 2 years to the field of 68, and you still have no idea how to turn off your notifications. Anyway, I love the idea of St. Peter's. I don't want St. Peter's at the Final Four. You want the big boys, the biggest stories.
Why are you so negative on Shaheen Holloway? I mean, come on.
How can I be nice? I'm not negative on Shaheen Holloway. I'm
telling Shaheen. I'm texting him right now saying you do not want Shaheen Holloway in New Orleans.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell him to come on here and light a fire under your ass. That's bullshit.
Although I will tell you this.
This would be one of the greatest stories ever if St. Peter's got to the Final Four. And they could win another damn game. They could beat Coach K against Shaheen. Who's the better coach? Shaheen Holloway.
Well, you know what would happen then, right? St. Peter's would absolutely end Coach K's career, and Doug Eder would be dancing on his grave. That's what he'd be doing with the mustache. Here, I have a question for you guys. RC's got the beard going. Dagan's got the beard going. Goodman, I don't know if he can grow full beard. The beard going. No, if St. Peter's makes the Final Four, are we gonna have to cut just the mustache? an honor, or is that only nuts hanging Dagan?
Yeah, whatever we need to do, man.
Doug Edert. Can we bring Doug Edert out in New Orleans? Regardless, listen, we know he's going to be in New Orleans, right? Like whether they get there or not, he's going to be there. We have number one thing is getting Doug Edert on After Dark next week in New Orleans.
Yes,
It has to happen.
I'm not worried about that.
And you should honestly, if that happens, Rob, you should bring the razor, bring the razor and get to work while he's on set.
Yeah, I might do that. I might do that. Like while we're live, just sitting there with the trim.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Oh,
good thing is, hey, the only good thing is I don't have to get in that Providence mascot. Thank God, man. I was worried for a minute.
And so right now on the live broadcast, we have Dana O'Neill and Pat Forty in there. Coach Case is going to trying to cut down the nets, and you have Dana O'Neill and Pat Forty bothering him. Let the man celebrate, Dana. Let the man celebrate, Pat.
I remember in New Orleans 10 years ago, 10 years ago when they won the whole thing. Kentucky did. David Warlock literally came up to me afterwards, and he was like, "Who do you want?" And I'm like, "Anthony Davis." And he brought Anthony Davis over to me after that, which was kind of cool. That's kind of the one thing
you don't have juice like that anymore.
No, I can't get that done anymore. Hell no. Now they're calling about my cookies. How about this? My daughter, man, like she went downstairs.
Listen, I think this is the perfect time for us to.
Issues, man.
I think this is the perfect time for us to take our first break to go hear from our sponsor. So listen, when we come back, we're going to be talking about Villanova. We're going to be talking about Houston, and I'm going to tell you why. I still think that Villanova has a chance to make some noise, even if that injury to Justin Moore is as bad as it looked.